Hi, my name is Ray Berger. I'm the inventor of the Brew Bomb brewing system. Today's video is going to introduce you to the basic equipment, how to use the equipment, and how the equipment utilizes active cold extraction to make cold brew coffee. The brewer that we're working with today is the X45 model. This is the smaller of our two models and has a batch capacity of 5 to 50 gallons, brew times anywhere from 50 minutes to 4 hours, and with multiple daily brews, a daily capacity of somewhere between 100 to 150 gallons of an RTD concentrate cold brew coffee. The Brew Bomb utilizes active extraction as a method for making cold brew coffee. And when we say active extraction, we're talking about managing the flow of water through coffee grinds. Because there is movement between the water and the grinds, you're actively extracting cold brew coffee. And this is the primary difference between the Brew Bomb active extraction method and the passive method utilized by immersion brewing. We'll talk about the equipment and the process, and we'll always come back and show how the equipment effectively manages active extraction so that you can craft precise cup quality, yields, and repeatability. So let's get started with assembling the brewer as well as going through how the system works. The main assembly is comprised of 4 basic components. The first is the brew cylinder. The brew cylinder is open on the top for the input of both coffee and water, and it's open on the bottom to extract the spent grinds. The next component is the hand control valve. This is how the flow rate is managed by the user. The next component is the articulating arm. This component is utilized to assemble the bottom structure that retains the grinds, and is also how the bottom structure is removed, which allows the grinds to be dropped into a waste bin. The final component, as part of the basic assembly, is the controller. The controller manages the user interface between the brewing variables, including coffee, time, flow rate, and yield. Both the X45 and X60 brewers are equipped with a brew cart. This cart is where the cold brew coffee is captured after the brew cycle. Available for purchase is an additional cart which optimizes the daily capacity of the brewer, as brewing and pumping can be managed simultaneously. We begin using the brewer by assembling the bottom components. To assemble the bottom components, we start by bringing the articulating arm to the forward position. From there, we set the platen on top of the articulating arm by inserting the post into this grommet. Place the platen on the arm with these 2 slots facing forward. The next step is to attach the retaining screen. This screen essentially holds the coffee into the cylinder, and it is assembled by aligning these 2 pins with the 2 slots in the platen. The next step is to place the nylon filter on top of the retaining screen. Simply place on and align accordingly. Let's raise the screen to mate with the cylinder using the hand wheel. Once the screen is mated and aligned, it is affixed with the T-pins. The T-pins fit into the retaining brackets and the slot in the screen. Be sure to align the wing nuts so that they are parallel with the edge of the screen. there are 6 T-pins to attach. Now that all the T-pins have been affixed, the platen can be lowered by turning the hand wheel on the articulating arm. Lower the platen so that it clears the 2 pins. Slide the arm assembly to the forward position and remove the platen. The platen is stored on the side of the brewer. The articulating arm goes into the rearward position and is not used until we drop the grinds out of the brew cylinder. The next step is to affix the catch funnel. The catch funnel is affixed by aligning these 6 tabs with the slots in the screen. Align the tabs, raise the funnel, and turn so the funnel merely sits on the perforated plate. Now that we've assembled the bottom of the brew cylinder, we're ready to put in the coffee grinds. But prior to doing so, it's important that we pre-infuse the grinds with water first. This optimizes the coffee in that it enables very fine grind brewing as well as cup profiles for more coarse grinds. For this brew, we're following the Lungo brew recipe, which calls for adding a lot of water to a coarser grind brew, which optimizes the silky flavors in the coffee. Start by putting some of your water at the bottom of the mixing bucket. Simply mix in the coffee. Add the rest of the water on top of the grinds and mix thoroughly. Brewing with the Lungo Brew Profile requires that the pre-infusion process actually saturate the grinds. This prepares the grinds for greater extraction and releasing those silky, smooth flavors that you'll get with coarse grind brews. This varies dramatically from fine grind brews where just small amounts of water are pre-infused, which simply allow water to flow through the grinds. Place the pre-infused grinds into the brewing cylinder. After all of the grinds have been placed into the cylinder, level the top of the grind bed off. Be sure not to pack the grinds into the brewing cylinder. After the top has been leveled, dig the middle of the grind bed out, creating a bowl configuration. Dig the middle out approximately 1 to 1.5 inches. Make sure that the edge of the grind bed, where the grinds meet the brewing cylinder, is level. This bowl configuration greatly increases extraction by minimizing the channel between the grind bed and the brewing cylinder. Place the catch cart under the brewing cylinder. Attach the feeder line to the hand valve and into the hole into the brew cart. Just push the line into the fitting. And be sure to turn the valve on. Now that we're ready to start brewing, let's set up our brew profile in the controller. The main menu offers 3 functions. For this brew, we are going to use the auto brew function. In the auto brew function, we have 4 fields of data that we need to input into the controller. The first is the yield. For this brew, we are using the Lungo brew recipe, and we have charged the cylinder with 40 pounds of coffee. If you'll follow along with the Lungo brew profile, you'll notice that our expected yield will be 19.1 gallons at a 4.5 TDS concentration. So let's go ahead and input the 19.1 gallons. Keep in mind, when inputting data, always click into the field first, enter the information, and then press enter. The next field to input is the brew time. Note the formatting is hours and minutes. Always remember to first press into the field, enter the data, and then press enter. For this brew profile, I have selected 3 hours and 30 minutes, so I will enter 03:30. For this brew, we are doing a full charge of 40 pounds. The next field to input is the pre-infusion. If you remember from our pre-infusion Lungo recipe, we pre-infused 20 ounces per pound. Totaling that is 6.3 gallons. You'll note that now all of the data has been input and the run button is flashing. That indicates you've input the data properly and the controller is ready to run the program. The controller has now gone into the brewing function. Notice that we have 3 data fields. The first is a target flow rate of 13.65 ounces per minute. Second is the brew time, which just reiterates the brew time I input in the prior menu. The next is a total dispensed figure. Note this is not the same as yield. The difference being the amount of water the coffee grinds will absorb prior to releasing any extracted cold brew. But before we start brewing, let's go back to the flow rate of 13.65 ounces per minute. If you'll go to the brewing formula worksheet, you'll notice that this flow rate pairs properly with the MPL21 nozzle. This is important that you pair the flow rate with the appropriate nozzle so that you obtain and optimize the spray pattern over the top of the coffee grinds. The next step is to place the rain lid on top of the brew cylinder. Place the nozzle stub inside the hole in the assembly clamp. Tighten the clamp assembly by turning the top nut. Next, we can insert the water line into the nozzle stub. We're ready to open the water valve and start brewing. To begin your brew, turn on the water by adjusting the manual control valve. Open the control valve until the flow rate, as shown on the controller, matches the target flow rate as specified by the controller. You'll notice that the current ounces per minute is very close to the target ounces per minute. As long as the values are close, this is acceptable. The current ounces per minute will fluctuate depending upon water pressure in your particular water system. Notice the brew time is elapsing. This will start and stop when the sensor indicates that water is flowing. We are also tracking the total water dispensed as well as the extraction ratio, which is simply the ratio between the water dispensed and the coffee weight in the cylinder. You may stop the brew at any time by simply pressing the stop button. Notice the controller is equipped with an alarm and an auto stop. Do this by loosening the clamp on the rain head and adjusting the nozzle stub up or down. The objective is so that the spray from the nozzle hits just inside the cylinder walls. This will assure the best extraction. We've been brewing for approximately 3.5 hours. We've hit our yield of 19.1 gallons as shown on our level indicator in our bin. The process would be to then test the total dissolved solids in the coffee or the concentration of what you've gotten. Our Lungo recipe anticipates a TDS of somewhere between 3.8 and 4.5. So it's always interesting to see how this extraction went and what our actual concentration is. We then take this concentrated cold brew and we dilute it out to a ready-to-drink concentration. For industry standards, we see everything between a 1.3 and a 3, with the most commonly used TDS of being somewhere between 1.3 and 1.8. We've brewed our concentrate, we've diluted down to an RTD. Let's go ahead and keg the coffee. We're using the Brew Bomb pump stand, a great accessory item that makes pumping into your kegs quite easy. First, we open the valve, turn on the switch, and we're filling. There we are. Our keg is full. Now that our brew is finished, let's start breaking the brewer down for cleaning. This is easily done by, first, remove the nozzle stub. Second, remove the rain head. Next, let's remove the discharge tube from the hand valve and the coffee cart. Next, let's remove the coffee cart. Next, place a trash bin underneath the brewer. And then remove the catch funnel. Next, move the articulating arm to the front position and place the platen on top of the articulating arm. Slide the platen underneath the perforated plate and using the hand wheel, raise the platen so that the platen is mated with the perforated plate. Once mated, the 6 T-pins can be removed. Lower the platen approximately 1/16 of an inch. Then simply align the garbage can with the dropping grinds and pull the handle forward, dropping the grinds straight into your trash receptacle. Do be sure to keep the reusable filter. The perforated plate comes off for cleaning, as does the platen. Now that the grinds have been dumped into the trash receptacle, you can either clean the cylinder in place or remove the cylinder to your cleaning bin for final cleaning. The cleanup process with the Brew Bomb is a 15 to 20 minute start to finish process. The design simplifies the way the unit is assembled and disassembled, and dropping the grinds out the bottom dramatically changes the equation of how to dispose of your spent grinds. Having an efficient facility will greatly facilitate this process, but even just a sink nearby the Brew Bomb allows a 15 to 20 minute time to clean and set the machine back up. Now that we've finished our first brew together, I hope you get a sense of how the Brew Bomb delivers craftable coffee in short brew times and an easy cleanup. The easy cleanup and quick turn allow for multiple daily brews in high capacities from a simple system that's user-friendly and delivers great results.